I mean, I guess these are the two interesting tales for the SMSF industry over the last year or two. The Dixon advisory one, I mean, as I think most people that have sort of been reading the financial press are aware, is that essentially, their investments that had sort of basically they all went quite badly quite quickly, but the vehicle that was used for these investments, they were all done within the same Dixon's framework. They were essentially, there's one fund investing in another fund, and fees going on. They were never Dixon Advisory never told anyone to sell it, and essentially these things fell over. But the vehicle they were using for it was self-managed super funds. And because I'm Canberra based, and Dixons were very big in Canberra, we actually see the results of that. And look, my initial sort of thinking on this is that, look, there probably isn't much of a lesson for at least for accountants and advisors. I think there's huge lessons for financial planners, but for accountants and auditors, not so much. But look, I don't know if that's necessarily the case now. I had another good think about it, and with my sort of experience dealing with litigation matters and expert witness. I suspect that it's possible that some of these class actions, because there's about 3 class actions related to the Dixon super funds. I can see these highly rated lawyers trying to potentially having a go at the auditors and accountants through the investment strategy. I haven't seen the strategies that the Dixon clients had, but if the wording's not quite correct, it's entirely possible that the lawyers might, basically, the line they'll be sort of using is, "Hey, auditor, you didn't point out that this strategy is not quite right. That they talked about high liquidity when in actual fact these investments were not liquid at all." It's that sort of thing there. So I think, I guess the takeaway for accountants is, and particularly auditors, is look at the investment strategy, have a think about that as best as you can. I have a little bit of sympathy for these auditors. They sort of thought, well, they're listed on the stock exchange, they must be liquid. In actual fact, that wasn't the case. Now, the Melissa Caddick stuff. Look, this is, I'm guessing most people know, what that's about. In terms of what she actually did, maybe not, but essentially she, because we are actually seeing a handful of these funds come across to us. Fortunately, we had nothing to do with them before. I imagine there's a lot of worried auditors out there, but well, a handful of very worried auditors that were involved in this. And what she was basically doing is getting ComSec, dumbing up ComSec reports. I mean, you're tipping all the money in self-managed super fund, dumbing up ComSec reports, which you would hand to the accountant, the auditor, and the members, and the auditors were just signing off on that. And look, just to clarify, some people don't think there actually were any audits done. That's not the case. She was actually giving those to professionals to look at, and they weren't picking up that they were sort of fraudulent. Now, this actually terrifies me because there's been a few occasionally when this came out, you sort of had these moments where you wake up at 2 in the morning, and go, oh, gee, how, as an auditor, how would you identify this? How would you solve it? And look, for ComSec, it's fairly straightforward. For broker type reports, it's you can do HIN checks. You should be checking dividends. And to some extent, I'm a little bit puzzled why the previous auditor didn't do that. But I guess the key thing there is that going forward, it's imperative that this additional audit work is done, if it wasn't done before, as it probably should. So, and it just goes to show you that, because you have to imagine that she didn't spend a lot of time doing this, and it was highly successful. So with broker type reports, I think it's, do that extra audit work, and it should be. What concerns me though, is that had she taken it to a different level, and instead of using ComSec, she was using some of those, portfolio type reports where everything is contained within the one set of reports. We have attempted to try and get HIN numbers, to try and do like checks of the underlying investment balances, but often we just can't do it, especially when there's a custodian in place. And right now, we don't really have a solution except when with data feeds are certainly useful in that area, but just pouring through the actual bank statements to just try and tie up some of the transactions. But it does represent a risk area, where fraud could potentially be successful. So yeah, it's a bit of a concern.